All right, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the concluding session of this very, very special PropTech Conclave. This is going to be a tech talk on PropTech and capital, redefining valuation, transparency, and investor confidence. Very, very careful in terms of selecting the topic, Realty Plus. So very, very well done. This is going to be full of learning, PropTech and capital, redefining valuation, transparency, and investor confidence. I'm going to be introducing our speakers, both our speakers in alphabetical order. My first speaker over here for this session with over 25 years of experience in market research, business analytics, and market strategy consulting. He started his career as an analyst in the US. He has extensive experience in market research, business analytics, market strategy consulting, global finance in the Indian real estate sector. And in the year 2017, he founded CRE Matrix, the technology-driven real estate intelligence platform powered by authentic transaction data. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO and co-founder of CRE Matrix, please clap it up for Abhishek Kiran Gupta. Thank you so much, Mr. Gupta. Please, I welcome you over here to this very, very special session. Thank you. My next speaker over here is under the visionary leadership of Dr. Amit Goenka, Nisus Finance achieved a historic milestone by becoming the first public listed fund manager in India via the BSE. As a veteran with over 25 years of multi-continental experience, he oversees a current AUM of nearly 2,000 crores. NIFCO operates across India and the UAE as well. With focus on investments across real estate and urban infrastructure, NIFCO is managing SEBI-registered company, AIF funds, Gift City Fund, and the Dubai DIFC Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman and managing director, Nisus Finance Group, please, the honorable founder. Let's clap it up for Dr. Amit Goenka. Thank you so much, Mr. Goenka, for joining us over here. And to moderate this session, the lady who truly needs no introduction, I want the loudest amount of claps for Sapna Srivastava, please, everybody over here. Can we all clap a little louder for Sapna? In-house mate over here when it comes to Realty Plus, always doing her best to get the best people from the industry for these very, very technical conversations. Thank you, Sapna. And your timer is there for your reference. Over to you.
We can see each other.
I'm getting a little closer. I can see you. Wonderful.
So thanks, Shubhajit, for those introductions and that loud round of clap. So our topic has PropTech and capital in one sentence. So let me start, open this discussion. And we have finance expert, we have the technology expert. So let me start with asking you, both of you, what inspires confidence in a developer? Is it the land banks that he has, or is it the tech-led governance that he has? Abhishek, starting with you.
He gives the money to them, he should answer this question. But okay, chalo, aapne mujhe bola, so I'll answer. If I am a home buyer, which can also be an investor.
Institutional investor.
Institution, family office, anybody who has money is an investor. To fir he only cares, Baba, mera ghar kab milega, will you deliver? What is the appreciation I will care? Land bag ya tel lagane. Right? Because I'm buying into that project. But if I am a large investor and I'm investing long term into the developer, and आजकल बहुत entity deals हो रही हैं, आजकल बहुत platform deals हो रही हैं, then in which case I would care for today, the governance, the delivery, the cash flow management, the capital discipline, everything in between, and the land bank. Don't forget that land banks are not necessarily happening so much these days compared to when the DLF days, because now JVs, JDAs, make, right, deliver, sell, आगे बढ़ो. Third, but if you are an investor into the stock market, wherein you're going to hold the stock for a few years, then you definitely care for the land bank. But what I'm trying to say is, and I personally, as a data analyst, and I've been doing this for too long, I like developers who pick up a land, build it, sell it, move on. If you're going to stay on land for 20 years like our erstwhile developers did, I don't like you.
Amitji, do you agree to that? How do you see this?
No, I think Abhishek is quite spot on. I think he's very well categorized who requires what. And I think the second point, which is really the enterprise level, is where we come in. Yeah. Where, as he rightly pointed out, it is governance, systems, transparency, predictability, professional organizational behavior, to obviously beating targets rather than just meeting targets. I think all of these are obviously the right mix of essentials today for any institutional money. I think they're non-negotiable, and which is clearly why we're seeing an acceleration in the consolidation in favor of the big boys.
So it's thing of the past that a developer who has large land banks is dependable, is someone who inspires confidence. Now, as you said, it's mostly JVs, JDs, and also depends on what kind of finance one is looking at. That also brings us to what you do, Abhishek, data intelligence, data analytics. Is that changing the real estate valuations? Earlier, everything was depending on cash flows. Is it changing? Is it even enhancing the real estate valuations?
Yeah, I love the second word. So see, the fundamentals of valuation will remain DCF, which is your cash flows. It will remain the residual system. It will remain the comparables. ये जो उनके pillars हैं. These are the Rafis and the Ashajis and the Latajis of the golden period. वो तो रहने ही वाले हैं. But what has changed in the last 10 years, post digitization in India and post CRE matrix or anybody else, is now you have authentic, accurate, comprehensive data available. पहले क्या था? All of these methodologies, you were using data, beg, borrow, steal. You will pick up 5, a sample based. Now we have data not sample based. We have 99% data available, चाहे वो घर हो, office हो, land हो, warehouse हो, retail हो, high street हो, कुछ भी हो. That brings immense confidence, statistically or otherwise, to the valuation system, which are the same three. But now, comprehensive, accurate and authentic data is available, which brings in the authenticity and the accuracy of the same system.
Backed by structured data.
Structured, correct, comprehensive. Again, I repeat the same thing. Not a sample based. एक बिल्डिंग में आप कितने डेटा निकाल लोगे? 5. I am giving you all 500. I am giving you all 5,000. That's the difference.
So does Amitji, data intelligence also brings in transparency, and then transparency leads to easy access to capital?
I think today underwriting is no longer led by broad assumptions or gut feel or developer representations. It is purely today a function of data analytics and being able to mine and deeply mine what Abhishek rightly pointed out is the comprehensive amount of data available to actually create very dependable outcomes. And I think that's really fundamentally changed the way in which today capital is getting deployed. When a counterparty has the capability to demonstrate intelligible data over a meaningful period of time, and thereby making the outcomes more predictable, more governable, along with an extraordinary amount of transparency, reporting, and regulatory oversight, I certainly believe it changes the paradigm for capital inflows. And which is why we see a very vast increasing chasm between the funded and the non-funded developer bases. And the only difference clearly lies in their ability to provide very meaningful, deep insights into their business histories, into their project deliverables, into capital flows, and into their underwriting systems themselves. And I think that really, when overlaid by any capital institution, makes it very easy to sort of move forward and scale with such partners, because at the end of the day, that's exactly what any financial institution looking for is data transparency and predictability. Now, that certainly leads to yield compressions, because there is so much less margin of error which needs to be built in. There is so much less delinquencies that need to be built in. There is so much less, I think, variability that needs to be built in. So I think when you have that kind of confidence, then I think certainly yields compress, and it opens a wider opportunity set in terms of types of capital. Not just at the credit level, but also at the equity level, at the mezz level, at private level, at public level. So it just opens a very wide plethora of opportunities, because any large institutional counterparty at any level would exactly pivot around these data points.
Correct. So data intelligence or more data means that there are less variables, more confidence. But in your experience, are there certain data still missing when assessing financial, operational risks by a financier? What kind of data is still missing?
So, I think there have been a few variables with regard to one, the changing urbanization landscape, which fundamentally starts with how much can be built. And that with every city has been changing very rapidly. And it also changes mid-course. Suddenly with the announcement of additional incentive FSIs or additional such schemes which tend to change outcomes, either progressively or adversely also sometimes, because you suddenly have some environmental
Sometimes
restraint.
they change the land use only. The land use has been changed.
So I think the predictability or data sufficiency really lies in the regulatory landscape to a very large extent. That makes it hard. I think second is the commodity pricing, because the ability to take forwards on commodities has now pretty much gone out of the window, and commodity pricing has become very dynamic. And I think lack of that obviously therefore bakes in that certain cost variability as to where we will eventually land in terms of overall cost, especially labor pricing going up, and of course maybe technology is trying to assuage it in a small way. But I think there still has to be a very significant intervention to bring down the variability in labor cost, or even material or input cost as a whole. And the data has not been very minutely broken down into components over a very long period of time to say very predictably. I think there are still some broad thumb rules at work in terms of labor input or material input or technology input. Of course, a lot of these things also, ratios have been changing with time. So I think that makes data slightly more difficult to underwrite, is the actual total cost of production. And again, now because we also own a construction company, we're seeing that also in our construction contracts, which my subsidiary does, is they're trying to also keep a lot of margins of error also having passed through costs to the project, which can't be absorbed by any contracting company or an EPC company. I think that's the second part, is so regulatory interventions or changes or input costs have been, I think, the second. Third, suddenly we've also seen a very large spurt, if we have to talk about one asset class, which is residential, on the luxury side. For a very long time, affordable and mid-income was largely 78% of the landscape. And so there was deep amount of granularity of understanding of that asset class. Suddenly with the disruption in that space and it being now superseded by mid to high luxury products, where again the specifications can vary wildly depending upon the target audience or TG. That makes it again hard to say what the actual underwriting value can be, because the range of values have been very, very vast. And recently, I think his report said that how NCR has taken over as a luxury destination. And who would have imagined that the back and beyond of NCR at one time can actually become the luxury capital of India, and not South Mumbai. So I think those are very hard to make predictions because we haven't seen enough of luxury, branded and bespoke products. And I think with the creation of that on the rise, underwriting becomes slightly more difficult. So then you have to borrow templates from other markets and other experiences or the limited amount of information you've had over the last 10, 15 years to try and make certain assumptions.
So Abhishek, Amit ji mentioned, there is a broad level data, but that has not broken down into components in construction, in building material, regulatory space especially, and then, unpredictable kind of reports that you take out. So, the granular data is still a challenge.
Okay.
How do you address that?
No. So, we have to split this into pieces. When it comes to construction and all the execution part of data, that is not publicly available at a project level. So that we don't have, that is still private to even a listed company. Can't have it. But when it comes to granularity at a unit level, चाहे वो घर हो या एक particular office हो, या it can be one room in this hotel, or it can be a small space in a mall, or even one unit on Linking Road High Street. We have it at a unit level. So it's going to be from unit to building to road to Santa Cruz micro market or Viranandhiri to Bombay to India. Believe me, granular data at a project unit level is available with CRE matrix, irrespective any asset class, any top city that you can think of. If you allow me to answer a small portion of the question you asked him, gaps कहाँ हैं? Gap हिंदुस्तान में है. मोदी जी रोज बोलते रहते हैं विकसित भारत 20 ट्रिलियन. वो नहीं होने वाला जब तक we don't have these cities outside the 5 cities. We need Amit to go to Vizag. We need Amit मतलब
People like
we
Amit.
need people to go outside the 5 metro cities of India. Otherwise, we'll not reach there, period. How much can we absorb in these cities? Not possible, right? So we need the Jaipur, the Lucknow, the Vizag, the Amravati, the whatever, Vijayawada to grow. And let me share a proud moment as an Indian. आपने data की बात की. We do data all the time, right? 4th, 5th largest economy in the world. We never had an index in real estate. What a shame. Finally, CRE Matrix and IIM Bangalore got together and created Hindustan ka pehla office index. We have a REIT. They need the index. Somebody sitting 5,000 miles away in America, how will he compare Hinjewadi with high-tech city? High-tech city with BKC or Andheri? Not possible. So, boss, granular data is available at a unit level.
Okay. So granular data is available and now the index is also available, for office.
Yes, and a bigger institution, not that I'm trying to say anything for IMB, we love them, but similar quasi-government institution has approached us कि बाबा साथ में बैठ के कुछ housing का करते हैं, कुछ तो करते हैं. We need that for India.
Amit, we do need an index. How do you take it? Because you are also operating in Dubai. How, learnings, let's say, what are the learnings for India from there?
I think learnings can be quite a few on both sides. I wouldn't say that India has to learn from the UAE or any other markets or vice versa. I think there's always a cross-pollination that is possible. I think from if I have to take a very conservative stance, I think the problem of the yonder years has been stuck homes or the speculative nature of home buying or investments. It's not like it is not there, but it is not involving bank money. There are no mortgages available for buying under construction homes. And at one point, DLF almost resolved that they will not sell anything that is not complete till such time that the markets blew into a large opportunity and everybody started to go back to the old ways of selling under construction or off plan. But I think, yes, I think the discipline of having a predictable outcome and keeping retail capital out and risk mitigating consumer money, thereby taking a little bit of the speculative nature of under construction investment out, can actually create a far more stable and more predictable and less painful environment for retail buyers, for sure, which is what creates or damages sentiments. I think the second clearly is the RERA as a regulator. While Supreme Court not few weeks back remarked that I think RERA may be scrapped out of frustration because the efficacy or success of RERA as a regulation, which has been lauded so widely as one of the game changers, has been of limited impact in a few states only, and on a wider scale has failed to address the lowest segment or the real segment, which is the consumer segment, and it has been seen as more builder friendly or capital friendly or whatever. Maharashtra RERA obviously has done a spectacular job at trying to protect customer or consumer interests. But again, I mean, if you see the way RERA has been implemented, for example, in the UAE and of course other markets as well, is absolutely spectacular. It is spectacular. I mean, in fact, if the only threat that a developer has is effectively RERA, because they have judicial powers, whereas Indian RERA is quasi-judicial at best.
Correct.
So that makes it a very big game changer that you can't mess around with RERA, because RERA is the ultimate authority on whether you will survive or die as a developer or whatever. Apart from that, I think the clarity and predictability of regulations and what we've been talking for donkeys here is a single window. Every time you say, what is the expectation, single window? I mean, what single window means, nobody knows. But truly, if you have to see what is single window, then you've seen that. We've seen that in those markets where you literally go nowhere. As a developer, there is literally just one file which goes to one authority, and within a very specified time frame, you get your response.
And it's as simple as that. And there is no negotiation, bargaining, there is no funny business, monkey business involved. It's very, very transparent and straightforward. And that makes it very easy for global capital and global developers and global players to come and actually play that market because of this predictability of outcomes
Correct.
within the time frames. So I think that is a very big enabler. And of course, then there are larger constituents which are called master planners who have been tasked, because obviously one authority can't do all. So like we have state development authorities, whether it's an MIDC or an MMRDA or whatever, there are regional master planners there who are also very clear about what their objectives are, because they can get de-rostered if they don't do their jobs. So I think that is a very big game changer when it comes to global capital and global developer interest, and which is the reason why a lot of international developers did try and step into India, but have failed miserably. And now maybe have come through the back door or trying to do it through some local partners or whatever. Yeah. But that obviously remains an impediment. So I think there are lessons for both sides. But and as he rightly said, expansion outside of the few metro locations.
Yes.
Unless we are able to create a 50 city or a 60 city or a 100 city story, you will have concentration risk and therefore price spikes and cyclicality, which will keep on hitting these limited markets.
That's right. One word that comes from Amit is predictable outcomes, which is not happening in Indian real estate. How do we ensure that? I mean, it's very difficult as long as Amitji mentioned, regulatory landscape doesn't become more effective, RERA doesn't become more effective, we will still see unpredictable outcomes. Your suggestion, at your level, in terms of probably technology, in terms of data, what can, maybe one or two pointers that can help here?
Predictive outcome in real estate. Well, in the beginning only, 20 minutes back we spoke about, for a person it's always, Baba, mera ghar time pe de dena, whatever I've invested, it should come on time, right? With RERA coming in play, with transparency coming in play, with global players pumping in money, I'm not talking about the Japs and all, but even domestic players also, there is a sense of responsibility. Somebody is looking over your shoulder, either regulator or somebody who's given you money. So there is a bit of sense of commitment, and people will deliver. 10 saal pehle ya 20 saal pehle,
of course,
5
things
or
have
6
changed.
out of 10 projects would get delayed. 2-3 तो बनते ही नहीं थे. But अब नहीं होता ऐसा. Maybe 9 on 10 get delivered. Maybe 6 months, 1 year late. So I think that's good. So there is some predictability to this madness. And मैं हमेशा यही बोलता हूँ, हिंदुस्तान में madness बहुत ज़्यादा है. We love it. Somebody who can bring the method to the madness is going to rock. And all of us, including you, are collectively doing that. Right? And हमारा time आ गया है अभी. Next, Mr. Deepak Parekh recently said, please take me back 40 years. The Sony ki chidiya is back.
Okay, fantastic. So let's come back to technology, because this is a PropTech conclave. So has PropTech moved from being a cost center to capital multiplier?
Really?
Abhishek?
Well, जब मैं JLL में था 20 साल पहले, तभी भी कॉस्ट था. आज भी मैं कॉस्ट ही इनसे मांग रहा हूँ अगर आप मेरा डेटा चाहते हो तो. But that cost benefit analysis, the benefit it is giving you is what is causing the capital multiplier. If you're a developer, you need to know what your competition is up to, you need to know what the market is up to. If you do not get your sizing and pricing right, you will lose money for the little data that that you should need. Okay. If you are a home buyer, you still need it. If you're a bank, so you need it, forget it endlessly, because it's going to be part of your risk assessment. And if you're an investor, you still need it. There's an gentleman sitting right next to us. So cost तो है, खर्चा तो करना पड़ेगा, but the benefit is what is the multiplier that comes in play. So yes, I think it's a great capital multiplier now. So
Amitji, now do people think it as a capital multiplier, technology or PropTech?
I think technology is inevitable, and I think anybody who's not adopting it fast enough is obviously going to get left far behind very, very quickly. The pace of adoption and acceleration has been quite phenomenal, and it has obviously now intervened into pretty much every part of the supply chain. Earlier it was more dominant on the customer facing side or the client acquisition side or on the retail brokerage side. But I think now it's proliferated into construction in a big way, in risk management, in compliance, in predictability, in so in firefighting, so many areas it's now becoming, and of course finance as well, because data analytics and fast computing is obviously today in need of the hour as to how fast you can come up with results and how fast you can ensure that your risk parameters are in place, and how do you crunch data coming from your multiple investments on real-time basis to actually change course if required before it's too late. So I think it's now inevitable part of business. And I think, as Abhishek rightly pointed out, that it actually creates a very large multiple in favor of those who are tech-enabled versus those not tech-enabled.
Correct.
Because clearly, if things blow up, there's no way you're going to be able to come back, and therefore being able to prevent that. In fact, even from a customer side, I've seen so much technology being utilized for the purpose of price, product, quality discovery, and getting real-time intelligence on what makes sense, both for an investor at the retail level, because that's where they will rely most on technology, because they don't have their own research teams, they don't have the ability to mine data or look at raw data, what CRE can provide. But the ability to comprehend intelligence in a short span of time, where some back engine is working on on gigabytes of data to produce that result basis their search parameters and give very, very dependable outcomes, is becoming a very powerful tool, to such time that we are seeing platforms which are completely eliminating the need for physical brokerages as well. It's just being able to do real-time transactions online with the ability to actually give you an outcome without having to visit 20 places.
That's right.
And
That's
almost certifying that this is your best bet.
correct. So as our speaker said, technology is no more a choice. It's a given. You need to have it if you want capital, if you want customers. As Abhishek mentioned, data is there. At a granular level, the data is there. There's a lot more need to be done in various segments, as Amitji said, at the regulatory landscape or the building material, construction ecosystem. But yes, we are getting there. So thank you so much for giving us those very varied perspective on how PropTech, the valuations and the capital is moving in the Indian real estate. Thank you so much, Abhishek, and thank you so much,
Super
Amit.
happy. Thank you for inviting. Please do more of these sessions so that we can give back to the industry all the knowledge we have.
Yes.
But next time, iska kuch naam rakhenge. Data is not oil anymore. It's the new water. You cannot live without it.
Okay, yeah, very true, very true. Thank you, Abhishek, for those last words. Thank you.
Thank you so much to both of you. I'll request both of you to please kindly remain on stage. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll request everybody to please kindly clap it up for these two gentlemen over here. I'll request Sapna to please kindly give the token of appreciation to our esteemed speakers over here. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us over here. And can we fix the light over here, please? We'll do a photo of all three of you together without the gift. Thank you so much. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आप लोगों का. Thank you so much. God bless you all with the best.